Warren Buffett is one of the most successful investors of all time. He is now the fifth wealthiest man in the world with a net worth of over $100 billion. Warren started investing at the age of 11 way back in 1941. So we are talking about more than 80 years of investing experience. So in this video, we will take a peek at Buffett's portfolio and find out what's in there. But before we go on, click that like button, share, and subscribe. This year is one of the most challenging years. First, there's a high stock market price surge. And second, a five-fold inflation increase over a year. Third, the economy is more in debt than it has ever been. There's bad news everywhere we look, and no doubt, 2022 is a pretty crazy time. Apple is by far the largest holding of Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. 887 million of his total shares, or 42.78% of his stock holdings, are Apple shares. His Apple investments are therefore worth $125 billion in total, which is 4 times the value of his next largest holding. At a price of roughly $23, Buffett started buying Apple shares in May 2016 and kept doing so through the first quarter of 2018. Although its value has increased 4 to 8 times since he purchased it, Buffett has kept it since it is by far his best stock. Bank of America, America's second largest bank, owns the second spot of Buffett's high equity ownership. Bank of America shares that Warren Buffett owns are worth $42 billion, or 14.6% of his entire portfolio. In order to purchase Bank of America, Buffett used a warrant with a $7.14 strike price. He upped his investment by 30% to about $30 in the third quarter of 2018, giving him a $14 total cost basis for Apple shares. The price of the stock as of right now is $46 a share. Buffett has profited considerably as a result. With a PE ratio of 13.8, they pay a dividend with a yield of 1.89% and are attractively priced in comparison to the present market. In Buffett's portfolio, American Express, a business that processes credit cards, is ranked third. His holdings are worth $45.4 billion in total. 150,000 shares, or 8.66% of the portfolio, are owned by him. The stock's price sensitivity is quite high. It also offers a 1% dividend and is now trading for less than it is worth each share, which is estimated by the Focus to be around $214. Buffett's favorite investment is Coca-Cola. Buffett owns shares in the business valued $20.1 billion, or 7.15% of the total. Buffett has stakes in significant beverage companies, including Fanta, Sprite, and Smart Water, as well as several more multi-billion-dollar organizations since he purchased the stock in 1988. Kraft Heinz. Buffett owns shares of Kraft Heinz worth $11.9 billion, making it his fifth large investment and 4.09% of his overall holdings. Many people still view this as a value play, despite its recent price cut. Its market capitalization is modest. Its dividend yield is sizable at 4.4%, and its PE ratio is respectable at 19.5. Moody's, an $8.7 billion financial company that makes up 3% of the portfolio, is placed 6th. U.S. Bank Corporation, the 8th largest stock, is worth $7.55 billion and represents 2% of the portfolio, while Bank of New York Mellon, the 10th largest stock, is worth $3 billion and represents 3% of the portfolio. He has a sizable investment in banking and finance, one might say. Why therefore are these sectors? The reason banks exist is so that you may hold the securities that companies need in order to operate and maintain the economy. Also, keep in mind that Buffett likes to make purchases when everyone else is frightened and anxious. Additionally, he did it in the financial sector. The post-crash Buffett rescue acquisitions of American Express, Bank of America, and Goldman Sachs are all legendary deals that brought in enormous profits. Verizon, a provider of mobile networks, is worth $8 billion and represents 2.92% of the portfolio. The next company is DaVita Healthcare, which is worth $4.2 billion and makes up 1.4% of the portfolio. And they are the top 10 places that Buffett holds in terms of size this year. The remainder of his portfolio is barely 1% or less. We won't go into that much detail, but a few businesses to think about include General Motors, Charter Communications, Amazon, Snowflake, Kroger, and more. This portfolio's technology sector makes up 43.2% of the total if we break it down by industry. Apple is responsible for its most spectacular stock holdings. We've spoken about all of the financial equities he owns and why he likes the sector so much. The second largest sector is financial services, which accounts for 31.7% of the total. The consumer defensive sector, which has a 12.7% market share, is made up of all the major producers of food and drinks, including Coca-Cola, Kraft Heinz, Kroger, and others. What can we then conclude from this? It's because Buffett invests in things he can comprehend. He stays with what he knows, and we need to follow his example. If you don't believe me, have a look at the stocks of the internet and technology industries. If you're familiar with cars, look at stocks like Ford, Tesla, and Toyota TC. If you're interested in beauty and cosmetics, find out which companies are leading and expanding in this sector. Buffett advises investing in industries we are accustomed to and like. I've only listed his publicly traded stocks for you since he is compelled by law to do so. We must take into account too that Buffett personally controls a sizable number of businesses. For instance, the Swedish businesses See's Candy and Dairy Queen are fully owned by the insurance company Geico. He is the sole owner of Nebraska Furniture Mart to the tune of 99.1%. 80% of the BNSF Railway Company is under his control. The battery company he owns, Duracell, was completely purchased by him for $34 billion. As a result, a combination of privately held and publicly traded companies make up Buffett's portfolio. As we've seen it, Buffett favors investing in straightforward businesses. I also want to show you how Warren Buffett divided his holdings of cash and stocks this year. He owns privately owned businesses and publicly traded stocks worth $310.7 billion. He has $144 billion in cash and cash equivalents, the majority of which is held in short-term treasury bills, according to a look at his holdings. Cash and cash equivalents, therefore, make up 32% of his total assets. That is a large cash percentage, especially for Buffett, who prefers to invest in stocks rather than hold on to his cash because it doesn't grow and is devalued by inflation. But because everything in this market is so expensive, he's having problems finding such precious stuff to buy, so he's taking a conservative approach. He didn't make any purchases last year. He's letting his wealth accumulate. And I think he's waiting for the price of stocks to drop before returning and making significant purchases. Both consumers and bank stocks are widely available, but Warren Buffett invests with patience. I hope you learned something from this video, and if you do, it would be kind of you if you can share this video, and who knows, someone could be the next Warren Buffett. We are Three Towers Investing Channel, bringing you the latest in finance, investment, and innovation. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.